In 1967, 12 Manila-based law schools came together and established the Philippine Association of Law Schools, or PALS, a non-stock, non-profit organization. Back then, their activities were meant to foster fellowship among the deans. However, in time, it evolved.
From the beginning, I think the only event during which the deans, as a practical matter, would come together was the annual bar examinations. Because even then, the bar examinations, up to now, are held here in Manila. So it would be during that time of the year that you would have all the deans in attendance and available to interact and to discuss common issues, common concerns.
The goal of the organization was to be a primary driving force in uplifting the standards of legal education in the Philippines, to meet both global standards of excellence and at the same time serve as a catalyst for the economic and human development in Philippine society. Its mission, to push the frontiers of legal research and development, and to promote a system of legal aid and apprenticeship for the benefit of the poor and marginalized members of the society.
I think the vision was really for the law schools to have a say in the direction of the regulation then of legal education, which was virtually non-existent. There was no Commission on Higher Education. Definitely there was no Legal Education Board. The supervision over legal education was in the hands of a Bureau of Private Education within the Department of Education. The participation of the academe in the manner in which the government would try to regulate was critical.
Through the years, PALS membership has grown from 12 to over 125 law schools all over the country.
Membership in the PALS is institutional. So it is the law school actually that is a member of the association. So whoever serves as dean, regardless of who is the dean, it's the school that is the member.
Handling the helm of PALS is a serious and noble task, given the broad responsibility of uniting Philippine law schools into a cohesive force to achieve the highest standards possible of legal education and ensuring that the law schools of the country should always abide by a set of academic standards. PALS takes pride in its roster of presidents. One became Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Others became Supreme Court Justices, Cabinet Secretaries, and Chairman of constitutional bodies of the government. Through the years, the integrity of its members has led them to be resource persons to the Philippine Senate, the House of Representatives, cabinet members, and even the media on constitutional and legal questions of the day. The PALS, relative to other like organizations, is unique that its existence as an association has been affirmed by law through its recognition in several Republic Acts mandating its representation in various bodies like the Legal Education Board and the Philippine Judicial Academy. Aside from organizational meetings, PALS also conducts capacity building and other learning and development activities like seminars and workshops, symposia, and other projects. These and many more projects, including outreach programs with indigenous communities and many more, have kept the organization responsive to the needs of the times.
We were able to set up the first Legal Aid Summit, and from this summit we were able to draw proposed rules and regulations that for the Legal Education Board to consider in order to implement a mandatory legal aid clinic. The second project is we were able to serve the marginalized, our Aita brothers in Tarlac, where we had our first Pagpapatala project. We want them to have a record basically with the civil registrar. Now, the third is we have this moot court competition. We call it Moot Court Boot Camp, where the students will participate and they will compete amongst themselves for purposes of, becoming mooters, good mooters.
We introduced for the first time the concept or project Bar Ops Pilipinas. So we prepared digests of cases for the last 10 years and then cases of the chairman of the bar examination committee for any given year and provided them to all of the students all over the country. And in fact, I got one comment from one law dean and shared by the others. The reasons why our provincial students have been excelling is that we have been very generous in giving them the same quality materials we provide Metro Manila graduates. So every quarter, we had a faculty development program. So Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, and Metro Manila.
The Philippine Journal of Legal Education, and I think we've already had 3 or 4 issues since that time. Research, and then instruction, faculty development seminars. Sort of making it a more or less permanent in an institution also in the year that we would be taught innovative teaching methods or learn from experiences from abroad, best practices.
PALS moral support to law graduates during the annual bar examinations is a time-honored practice. This tradition is like a farewell party tendered by the deans for their students, who have successfully hurdled the difficult law subjects, let alone the review. Bar exams never fail to bring forth a cocktail of emotions from students and their families. The anxiety of failing the exams by the students, the rise of the emotional temperature of the law schools, and the partial feeling of relief by parents. Free at last.
I think PALS right now, with respect to the bar examinations, that's where we're very active at. We make sure that we coordinate with the bar chairperson for a particular year. We would want to be, at the very least, assured that the bar examinations will be fair. And so far, it has been fair.
Just like in any organization, challenges have been an ingredient that has strengthened it. Its philosophy has always been to blend conflicting issues into a balance.
PALS is not a political group, and therefore when it comes to certain political issues, we leave it to the respective law schools to address these political issues. Now, law schools are not prevented from issuing their stand on certain matters. I think that's one of the challenges of PALS. We don't want to create a situation where the members will be divided. And you don't talk about politics because you know that politics divide.
Few of the nagging challenges that PALS is facing today is the performance of the law schools in bar exams and the discussion of theory over skills.
But the other concern is what you call the gap between the academe and the practice. Because the rap against legal education now is that even after 4 years of intense study, expensive study, what we produce, our products, are not really 100% prepared to take on all the challenges of practice. That has a lot to do with the fact that we are basically still teaching them theory over skill. When what the public who use our services are actually looking for are skilled graduates who can immediately take on, for example, a litigation case or draft a perfect contract. But what happens in reality is there is a learning curve still from the time that you graduate.
We would like to veer away from that focus. Lawyering doesn't mean you just have to pass the bar. You have a social responsibility, which means as early as now, that social responsibility must be imbibed by the student. Take the case of legal aid. Legal aid, to my mind, should be a mandatory subject where all students, upon reaching a certain year level, should be allowed to go out, of course under the supervision and guidance of a law professor, should be allowed to go out and apply what they have learned in the classroom. Or if they do not want to appear in court, they can go outside and help the marginalized.
Awash in dazzling lights of its 50th birthday, PALS does not entertain midlife crisis. Instead, it seeks to kick and rock. With the current dynamic core of the organization, PALS seeks to continue to soar and cover more grounds in uplifting the standards of legal education in the Philippines with its 50th anniversary theme, Progressive Legal Education at the Core of a Strong Nation.
When you talk about progressive role of PALS, we mean that we would like to think that to act outside the box or think outside the box. We coordinate with the Legal Education Board. We talk to them in representation of the interests of PALS. In other words, we are not merely recipients, we are also participants in certain policy-making process, and we make sure that our voice is heard on certain matters. The current state of legal education is definitely not traditional. The Legal Education Board, to its credit, has been innovative in expanding the horizons of legal education. And because of that, we in PALS must likewise be innovative.
So one cannot just be a traditional lawyer. No? We have to be creative. We have to adjust the changes brought about by corresponding changes in technology. You have a robot lawyer. This lawyer in New York, and he specializes in bankruptcy law. And this robot lawyer can provide legal opinions more accurate than the opinions of lawyers. Now, what happens if you have so many robot lawyers? No, so sooner or later, the traditional lawyers may run out of jobs. So the thing is, we have to keep on innovating. We have to keep on changing and adjusting to the demands.
Like humankind, PALS wishes to linger longer, beyond 50 years. It seeks to nurture oaks of idealism in the legal education.
I would like to see PALS as a stronger and more dynamic institution. We are celebrating our 50th anniversary, and we continue to be stronger as the years go by. We have become more coherent, we have become more united, no? We have become more passionate in achieving the objectives that we set out for the good of legal education.
If there's anything I'm thankful for, it's for the friendship and camaraderie of my colleagues. I've been privileged to serve with a wonderful collection of personalities. They have enriched my experience as a person, as an educator, and I hope that I've been able also to enrich their lives.
PALS will be able to, contribute to nation building if we can make our students first, our ideal lawyers in the future. And when I say the ideal lawyers in the future, it's not only one who's academically proficient, he must likewise be ethical. Okay? We have to develop these students to be a person of one with social awareness, one who's not textbook bound.
After 50 years that it has established itself firmly as the paragon of legal education in the country, we can only look forward and see the Philippine Association of Law Schools lead in enhancing the law profession for the next 50 years, making the Filipino brand of legal education one that we can truly be proud of.